What's good, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of KJ Sports Talk, where we talk sports all day, every day. And today's topic, we will get into the latest transaction that has happened in Dallas. Andy Dalton signed for 1 year as the Cowboys' backup quarterback. And pretty much gonna talk about what this probably means for Dak Prescott and his contract negotiations. But before we get into the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Make sure y'all leave a comment. I will reply to your comment. And let's get into the video. As y'all know, Andy Dalton, former Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, who we all knew was out the door soon as Joe Burrow got drafted. Like, we all knew he was out the door. But he just recently signed with the Dallas Cowboys a 1-year deal to be their backup quarterback. And the Cowboys just recently waived Cooper Rush, who was their backup for, I think, like 2 to 3 years. They just waived him. So they did need a backup. And let's be real about the situation. The Cowboys have not had even a decent backup quarterback since Tony Romo. I would count Dak because when Dak got drafted, he was supposed to be a backup, but he started as soon as he got drafted. He started, unfortunately, because of Tony Romo's injury. So I could count him as a backup, but the fact that he came in and started right away, can't really count him as a backup. So we haven't had a decent backup since Tony Romo. Since Tony Romo, we have not had a good backup quarterback. So that was always a spot that the Cowboys needed to fill. And I'm glad that they finally did it. And since Andy Dalton came to the Cowboys, a lot of people have been speculating that he's going to be competing for a starting position with Dak Prescott. And that, if you really believe that he's about to be competing for the starting position, you need to go get your head scanned. It's something wrong with you, because that is not why he's here. Don't get me wrong, he is an insurance policy just in case the Cowboys and Dak Prescott cannot come to an agreement on a contract. He is an insurance policy. He's pretty much what the Eagles did when they drafted Jalen Hurts. That was pretty much an insurance policy just in case Carson Wentz gets hurt again. We all know how that goes with him, injury prone. But that's pretty much what this pickup is for the Cowboys, an insurance policy just in case they cannot come to an agreement on a contract. And what I think this means for the contract negotiations right now, I believe Jerry Jones has the upper hand right now. Jerry Jones got the upper hand because now Jerry Jones really doesn't have to budge right now. He does not have to budge because if y'all didn't know, Dak still hasn't signed the franchise tag. And I think that he's made it clear that if they can't come to a contract agreement, he's going to hold out. So I think knowing all of that, Jerry, I think it like just a light bulb just cut on, like, okay, we need to get a backup quarterback because we're not seeing eye to eye on the number of years on the contract. We're not seeing eye to eye on the amount of money on the contract. So we got to get a good backup, a valuable backup. And you only had literally a couple of options, which was Andy Dalton or Cam Newton. But Cam Newton he's gonna go somewhere and be a starter. So he was out the question. So Andy Dalton was pretty much the best bet. And Andy Dalton is a very decent quarterback. Don't get me wrong, he's a decent quarterback. But he did not have what he has available to him now in Dallas. He did not have that in Cincinnati. He did not have that in Cincinnati. He did not have an offensive line. He really did not have as many weapons as he does now. Of course, he had AJ Green, but we all know AJ Green could be a little injury prone. He's been fighting injuries lately. As far as the running game go, he did have Joe Mixon, but let's be honest, Joe Mixon, Ezekiel Elliott is not even a comparison. It's not even a comparison. And he had Marvin Lewis as his coach for the longest. we all know how that went. And now you have better coaching, better weapons around you, better offensive line. Andy Dalton can really come over here to Dallas and do a lot of damage. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that. He can really come over here and do damage with the weapons that are available to him. And with the offensive line that we got. And new coach, who is a Super Bowl champion in his own right. So, I think with Jerry looking at that, like, now we have a valuable backup that can do some things with the team around him. So now that we have that, we're not even in a rush to sign you now. Like, we're not going to keep playing this cat and mouse game to get you signed when we have a valuable backup. So I think it's really gonna stall the contract negotiations between Jerry and Dak, because there's no need to rush and give Dak money that I personally think he doesn't deserve at this point. At this point in his career, I do not believe he deserves to be the highest paid quarterback, to be getting $40 million a year. Me personally, he has not earned that yet. He's not earned it. And a lot of people have been saying, but they paid Tony Romo. How come they can't pay Dak? I want everybody to listen when it comes to that issue. If Tony Romo had the team that Dak Prescott has now, or even last season, or the season before that, or with his rookie season, if Tony Romo had the same team, I'm talking all around, the collection of weapons, the offensive line, the defense, if Tony Romo had all of that available to him when he was healthy and playing, the Cowboys would have been and won a Super Bowl. They would have been and won a Super Bowl. So to everybody that keeps saying that they pay Romo, but they're not paying Dak, so they're trying to make it seem like they're not being fair. If Romo would have the same team Dak has now, Super Bowl, no question. Super Bowl. And then you have to look at Tony Romo has taken the Cowboys the same distance that Dak Prescott has with less talent. And that's on both sides of the ball. Romo's taken the Cowboys to second round playoffs. Dak has taken the Cowboys second round of the playoffs. Tony Romo did it with way less talent than what Dak has available to him right now. Way less talent. Romo had a collection of running backs. Sure, if you want to count DeMarco Murray, he did have a breakout year, but DeMarco Murray was no Ezekiel Elliott. No Ezekiel Elliott. No Ezekiel Elliott. Then as far as wide receivers go, Tony Romo, he did have Dez, and he used Dez the correct way. Him and Dez had good chemistry, unlike what Dak and Dez had. But as far as... And then Romo had Miles Austin, but we all know how that went after they paid Miles Austin all that money after his little breakout season. Didn't hear nothing from him since then. Nothing. Defensively, when Romo was the quarterback, defensively, the Cowboys were horrible. Horrible. Their defense stunk. Dak gets here. We got a top 10 defense. So when everybody keeps trying to make that comparison of, oh, they're being unfair to Dak because this was Tony Romo, they would have paid him, blah, blah. Romo, hands down, Romo, when healthy, better quarterback than Dak. I don't care what nobody says. Hands down, when he's healthy, way better quarterback than Dak. Romo did or took the Cowboys the same distance that Dak has took in the Cowboys, but with way less talent on the team. Way less talent, both sides of the ball. So when anyone asks why they paid Romo, if they would have paid Romo by now, that's why. That's why. You can't have the number one offense, top 10 defense, and go 8-8, not even make the playoffs. Sure, you can blame coaching. But I'm just saying, 8-8 didn't even make the playoffs. We got the number one offense and the top 10 defense. But you want to be the highest paid quarterback, get $40 million a year, like your name is Patrick Mahomes. Not going to happen. Not if I was the owner. Not going to happen. So, now that we have Andy Dalton, I feel like now Jerry Jones is pretty much kind of going to like take his time with the contract negotiations between him and Dak. Because now that we have a valuable backup that is, to me, Andy Dalton is still a starting caliber in this league. They're not going to be quick to try to give Dak a whole lot of money that he's asking for. So, right now, Jerry Jones, after signing Andy Dalton, Jerry Jones, he's winning these negotiations right now. He's winning. Why do we have to be in a rush to sign you when we have a starting caliber backup? Now, by no means am I saying Andy Dalton is better than Dak. By no means am I saying that. But Andy Dalton is not a bad quarterback, and if he has the weapons and the offensive line that we have, you never know what Andy Dalton can do. You never know. All of the weapons that he has over here was not available to him in Cincinnati. The offensive line was not available. The defense, you never know what he can do. So, I think the signing of Andy Dalton is gonna stall these contract negotiations for even longer. Because we have a valuable backup. So if you're not willing to play, if you're going to hold out, we have a backup that is a starting caliber quarterback that can come in and take over until we get you signed. That's how I think Jerry is looking at it. That's how I think Jerry is looking at it right now. So it's really going to stall these contract negotiations. That's what I think it means for these for the contract negotiations between Jerry and Dak. We'll just have to see what they do, but hopefully they will get Dak signed and we'll be ready to go this season. But thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget, subscribe, hit that like button, and if you got an opinion that you want to share about the video, make sure you leave it in the comments down below. Make sure y'all are out here staying safe from this virus. I don't care if some cities and states have opened back up. If you ain't heard nothing about a cure or treatment yet, you still need to be taking all the precautions. That means wash your hands. Some of y'all don't. But don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next video.